We found that people that have had Lyme disease, their parasympathetic doesn't work. And if their parasympathetic isn't working, their vagus nerve isn't working. And if the vagus nerve isn't working, there's no support in your gut. There's no support in your immune system. Like, it's connected to so many things.
Yep. Yep.
And so we've discovered that, and we know how to wake those things up. And so we took what we learned to taking multiple frequencies and bundling them together and started applying that same process to general wellness. And oh my goodness, it's off the charts. If you have a sleep issue, wear Nikki and you won't. If you're stressed, wear a Nikki and you will de-stress. If you need energy, if you have fatigue, it goes on and on and on because everything is frequency based. So we've just discovered on how to wake up your immune system to the issues that it's been ignoring. And it doesn't have to be Lyme disease or co-infections.
Welcome to the Everyday Epigenetics Raw, Real, Relatable podcast. I'm your host, Susan Robbins, epigenetic human performance coach. This is where we discuss all things lifestyle, environment, food, exercise, work, mind, and social interaction as they pertain to epigenetic expression in a way that's relatable to everyone. So if you're ready to start viewing you as an individual, take control of your life and health, and get results, buckle up, here we go.
Welcome to the Everyday Epigenetics Raw, Real, Relatable podcast. I'm your host, Susan Robbins. This is the place where we talk about everything lifestyle and environment and how it relates to our genetic expression. Today is going to be a fun one, packed with information you're going to have to buckle up for. My guest today, I'm actually wearing a device that he created, and his name is Stephen Davis. And I better put my glasses on to read this because I want to make sure you have all the information about Stephen Davis. Stephen, let's see, his journey into frequency wellness. That's what we are going to be talking about today, is frequency wellness. And I have been dabbling in frequencies for about 8 years. I've never had anybody on the program to talk about frequencies, let alone a device they have developed. And no, people, frequencies are not woo-woo. So do not turn off this program. Stay tuned and listen because you are going to hear some fantastic information. I've had great success using frequencies, and I've been using Stephen's device called Nikki for, several months now. I had to cancel the initial recording because the one time in several years I started to get sick was the day I was supposed to record with Stephen. So he was gracious enough to reschedule, and that's where we're here going to talk about this. When members of his family were diagnosed with Lyme disease, which we've been talking about quite often recently, after years of misdiagnoses, Stephen began researching options and found little that worked. And again, I'm sure this is resonating with everybody. That search led him into frequency-based wellness technology, and he built what he eventually became Nikki, and that's the wrist device that I am wearing. Stephen speaks not as a clinician, but as a founder who has lived the frustration of a broken system and built his way through it. Now, yes, he has programs. We're going to have him talk about Nikki, and you're going to hear about different programs with Nikki around performance, around Lyme disease, around general wellness. That's the one I've been using for several months. And I absolutely have noticed a difference since I have been wearing this, and I've been wearing it around the clock, and we will be talking about all that. I can tell you what Nikki is, but I'm going to have him explain that. First, though, I would like to welcome Stephen to the program officially. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm going to have you start with, tell us, you tell me, what do you think is better to start with? Do you think about what the heck are frequencies and why are they not woo-woo things? Or your story? Where do you think is the best place to start?
I think I'd like to start with just a little bit of my story so you can kind of get a feel for where this came from.
Let's do it.
So, first off, I'm not a doctor, not a mad scientist. I was just a desperate dad. And so my daughter was sick for 12 years. In the first 8 years, she had 2 sons, and they were born with significant health issues. And in the first 8 years, we chased everything, going from doctor to doctor, and with nobody giving us any insight. I heard so many times that it's just in my daughter's head.
Yeah.
I knew my daughter, and I know that was not true.
Yeah.
And so 8 years into it, I convinced a university to run some tests. And they ran some tests on my daughter, and they came back and said they think they found some markers that would lead them to think that she might have Lyme disease. Now, this is in 2015.
Okay.
My response was, what's Lyme disease?
Mm.
Can talk, it wasn't even on my radar. So anyway, as a family, we're happy. Now we know what it is. Let's go fix it. So we go out for 2 years, spending tens of thousands of dollars, doing everything that everybody else does, and ending up with the same results that everybody else gets. It's not a secret.
Nope.
And so I decided to just stop. I had 3 clinics at the time that were using a frequency-based technology for balancing the brain using musical tones.
But is that
And
the binaural beats?
no, that was, they called it brain state at the time.
Okay.
I don't think I think the founder had passed away now. But I knew enough about frequencies to make me dangerous. I brought my kids in the clinic periodically and they'd get a little bit of relief, but it only lasts for a couple weeks. So I knew there was something going on there. So in 2015, I rolled up my sleeves and started to go down this path. I hooked up with another guy and we started to go down this path using light to deliver frequencies. So most people, if it's red light therapy, that's just red, the color red. And they pulse that in different ways to cause different effects within the body. That's not what we do at all. Even though that on our tech, there is a little red light that comes on in the back, but that's just delivering frequencies. So my patents, it allows us to stack frequencies on top of that wave of that red light, and it carries our frequencies into the body. So I'm just going to back up for a second on how we came up with the frequencies. So everything we do is plant-based. It's minerals, or it's all natural. And so we identify the source product. Then I built a chamber, which is, it's not much bigger than this coffee.
Oh, wow.
And when I put the plant matter in there, we seal it, we excite the plant, it releases its energy, we grab that energy and put it on a Nicky. That's just a simple way to describe how it gets onto a Nicky. It's kind of like everybody takes supplements. And their process is very similar. They identify a source product, which is a plant-based material.
Yes.
They grind it up, they blend it together with other plant-based materials, put it in a capsule, and you take it. We use the same source material, but we grab the frequencies from these, even though that's all the supplement is. They're just delivering frequencies, but in a different form. And so everything's frequency based, everything. So
everything on earth, everything here. Yes.
That's
everything
right.
is a frequency,
That's
energy.
Right. And so now that we've tapped into that, it took 74 different plants that we captured, blended them together so they would go into the body at exactly the same time. Your cellular network picks up that information, because that's all a frequency is information. And it picks up that information if it needs it, carries it through your nervous system into your immune system, and wakes it up to the health issues it's ignoring. And so Lyme is it's a very smart bacteria. So if you take an antibiotic or do something that's going to cause it to hide, that's what it's going to do. And it'll get into your into your cells, into your tissue, into parasites. It hides until the danger passes. And so we've just learned how to wake up the immune system to the health issues it's been ignoring. It's like the very first vaccine that was ever invented. They would put the material in the body to wake up the immune system to a health issue it was ignoring. It's not the way it is today with vaccines, but that's the way it was intended in the beginning. And so that's what we do, is we wake up your immune system, and then it goes to work and does all the heavy lifting. So we've learned how to speak to the body in a very unique way. And we see it winning. My kids, they were in the first trial in 2016. That's the only time they've ever used our tech. And today, the youngest one, my daughter, first off, went back to university, got her teaching degree. That doesn't happen when you've got full blown on.
No, nope.
Her youngest son was diagnosed to be autistic. We discovered he had Lyme disease. We dealt with the Lyme disease, and he's just a normal 17-year-old today. In fact, he's being trained for the Olympics in 2028 in LA for swimming.
Wow.
And he's doing extremely well.
And
His
no ADHD, no autism is detected at this point.
no, no, he had Lyme disease.
It was Lyme.
Yeah. His brother had ADHD off the charts, where schools had a hard time containing him in the classroom. And today, he's throwing 87-mile-an-hour baseballs at a university. And I'm telling you, if you're a pitcher, you are not ADHD, because you have to be calculated, you have to be focused, like
Truth.
you're just not there. And so my family, because of what we discovered, has lived life to the fullest ever since 2016. No symptoms, no side effects of any kind. They've never wore our technology for Lyme since. They wear it for other things because we've got sports enhancement programs and they're both athletes. And so it's a very interesting approach that we've taken, and the results are staggering. We've helped thousands of people overcome Lyme disease. There's a few little things that you have to do with our product. We're not a silver bullet where it just fixes everything.
Right.
But what we've got, you need to use it. If you don't
Yes.
use it, you're not going to get better. I wear my Nikki 23 hours a day. So during the day, I'll run daytime programs that I need, whether it's stress relief or energy or focus.
Mhm.
And at night, I have a nighttime program that helps me sleep, and it restores things that have gone wrong during the day. And we don't just give you a melatonin or something so you sleep. We're de-stressing your system. And when your system de-stresses, your parasympathetic gets to kick in at night, and that's where you get the natural healing. And we found that people that have had Lyme disease, their parasympathetic doesn't work. And if their parasympathetic isn't working, their vagus nerve isn't working. And if the vagus nerve isn't working, there's no support in your gut, there's no support in your immune system. Like, it's connected to so many things.
Yep. Yep.
And so we've discovered that, and we know how to wake those things up. And so we took what we learned to taking multiple frequencies and bundling them together and started applying that same process to general wellness. And oh my goodness, it's off the charts. If you have a sleep issue, wear Nikki and you won't. If you're stressed, wear a Nikki and you will de-stress. If you need energy, if you have fatigue, it goes on and on and on, because everything is frequency based. So we've just discovered on how to wake up your immune system to the issues that it's been ignoring. And it doesn't have to be Lyme disease or co-infections. It can be parasites, it can be mold, it can be sleep, it can be stress. It goes and goes and goes. And we've capitalized on that for the people to be able to capitalize on all of these programs. And that's what gets exciting for us.
Oh, yeah. So, question, because being a chronic Lyme person here, and a lot of treatments that I would try, you have the die off. So, when you wear Nikki, because I don't have the Lyme program on my Nikki, so there's different programs
Yeah.
that Nikki has. So we'll talk about that. But I don't have the Lyme one. So my question is, if somebody has the Lyme one and they use it, do you get that typical die-off type, those types of symptoms with the Nikki that you would say doing your herbal treatment or antibiotics, things like that?
The short answer is yes,
Okay.
that can happen. And the reason it's uncomfortable is because your lymphs are plugged up. And so you've got no place for the body to get rid of the toxins that are being released by dealing with the Lyme. And so you are going to have it's usually short-lived, a couple days. And if you push through it, you end up on the other side not having to deal with the Herx effect. Your kids, like kids under 16, we've never seen them have any kind of Herxheimer effect.
Really?
It's interesting. And there's lots of different reasons why that might be. And I just think it's because they're young. And
That's what I'm thinking. They haven't been exposed to everything that we adults have been exposed to, whether it's food, environment, mental, right? That plays a big part. The stress, their stress is, I don't know. There's so many kids that are, the stress levels are through the roof. They're parenting their own parents. You're probably around my age, and we were told to go and play. We didn't deal with adult things. Kids nowadays are bombarded with adult things from as young as they can be 2 years old. And I think that's playing a big part with our youth and how they're responding. So that's a whole other rabbit hole I could go down, Steve.
Yeah.
but we years of years you add on to that to where we are, you can see why we would respond a lot heavier, I'm sure.
Yeah.
As
And we
adults.
find that kids really like the technology, like they get it. Like they understand, and people are tired of taking so many supplements every day.
Mhm.
We see the similar results if you use Nikki versus taking the actual supplement. Like its frequencies are frequencies. Those are just different delivery mechanisms. And we just happen to have a very effective delivery system because of what our approach is. And we don't touch one cell, we touch all your cells.
Oh,
And so everything gets woken up. One of the things that we discovered early on is because we have an app with our tech people, particularly my experience comes out of the Lyme community. And the Lyme community is tough because they've got all the co-infections that come with it.
yes.
They get mold. Mold's not a co-infection. It's just something that comes along and attacks the body when your immune system's so compromised. Same with parasites. You don't have to have Lyme to get mold or parasites or fatigue or any of these things. But our experience comes from Lyme disease. We know that it's extremely difficult. We know that there's a lot of people that have Lyme disease that don't even know it. We've got
11 years here, right?
Yeah,
I
we got given a number out of DC of potentially 40% of Americans with Lyme disease. Now, they don't know that for fact. It's an estimate. They talk about autism going way up, like RFK Jr. He talks about autism out of control. I think it's Lyme that's out of control, and it's affecting those kids in that way because Lyme it mimics over 300 different diseases.
That's why it's so hard to diagnose if you're not specifically looking for it. And less than half the people, it's a very small minority, see a tick or see the bullseye. I didn't see the bullseye the first time. Didn't even see a tick.
Yeah.
Second time, absolutely did, and it wasn't a tick. And that's the other thing. They think it's only ticks, or it's only, you were in Canada. You never hear about, hey, Lyme is in Canada. You hear it's the East Coast of the United States. I was in Montana the first time I got it, and Arizona the second time. And they told me in Montana, we don't have Lyme here. It's everywhere. It's the biggest epidemic that nobody talks about.
That's right. I was in Dubai for 2 months, and nobody knows really anything about Lyme disease over there. But they have 6 clinics for Lyme disease in Dubai because the majority of the people in the UAE are from somewhere else.
Wow.
And so they already have Lyme when they come to the country.
Okay.
And so it's really interesting. It's all over the world.
It's everywhere. I've seen in forums people in Europe saying, I was out and I saw a tick. I've got Lyme disease, and now I'm very conscious of where I'm seeing ticks and everything. And you're thinking in the Netherlands, right? These are things we just never would think about, but it's everywhere. And the tick is the most predominant transmitter, but it's vector borne, so it could be anything. Spiders. I don't want to take the chance. I just, it's petrifying once you've had it or have it. I was hiking with a friend of mine 2 weeks ago, and I said, I look over in these grassy areas or some of these higher areas. I don't want to walk there because the only thing in my mind is ticks. And now she goes, now you've got me thinking about ticks. So we're walking. I said, all right, do a check on me. Let me do a check on you. They don't like geranium oil, essential oil. So I will put it on my hands and I rub it everywhere, or I make a spray. So far, knock wood, I've been lucky, but I am just petrified. Where I used to not, as a kid, you run in the grass and play in the grass. I'm going, nope. I just, it's a panic that sets in that I can't do this again. But I didn't have this technology either.
If I lived out east, I couldn't go outside or send my kids outside unless they wore a Nicky. Now, we get asked all the time, how can you prevent Lyme disease? And I say, stay in your bedroom. Like, how do you do it?
It's just,
But one
you
thing
have to
that we
live
do
life.
know, that if you had a Nicky on, let's say you don't have Lyme disease, but you're wearing this
Okay.
and you get bit by a tick, this will deal with it before it goes chronic. So
Really?
you'll never even know that you had Lyme disease. And so it's really interesting. I know that if I lived out east, I wouldn't. One of my partners, he's in Boston, and he says to me all the time, and he's a high profile guy. He says whenever he goes out to get wood, he wonders if that's the day he's going to get Lyme disease. And he's my partner because his wife had Lyme disease and now she doesn't. And that's because of our technology.
And didn't do any other treatment. It
Not at
was
that time. At that time, it was just for Lyme
yeah.
disease. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you've developed it and I want to get into the performance part because this is where I'm really excited too. So what program? So say I'm going to be hiking Saturday. My friend just confirmed with me we're going to be doing one, and I know that this trail, we're dry as anything out here, and you can see the ticks. Like when we were hiking a couple weeks ago, there's one sitting right there on this reed. They're miserable. So I'm going to go hike now. Would I, on the basic program that I have, the basic setup, would I have, what would I program so that while I'm out there, I have this working for me? Is it just on my active? Because that's where I would be, is active, to make sure I can get my butt up that mountain. Right? So how would I work with that?
The only way that you can deal with anything to do with Lyme disease is through the Lyme program.
Okay. Okay. So I'd have to have that
Everything
part.
else is for general wellness of sorts.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. All right. So I may have to upgrade
Yeah, and
as much as I'm outdoors.
and when we first started, I had a price tag on the Lyme program for $2,500. And because of the results we were delivering, there were doctors that wanted us to remove our price off our website so they could sell it to their patients for higher.
Wow.
Because it works. So you can sell it for $10,000 a Nicky and you're going to save money if you have Lyme disease over time. You just are, because you don't have to keep doing all the other things. And so we said no. And my goal when I came into this, it wasn't to go and build a business around Lyme disease. It was to help the people that I met while I was going through it with my family. Everybody was chasing the same stuff. And I started going to Lyme support groups and hearing the frustration from people because there's just no solution. And everybody's coming to these groups hoping they're going to hear a story from somebody that's going to help them. And so there's three things that I personally stepped into. I know with Lyme disease, the first thing that happens is you lose your health. The second thing that happens is you drain your bank account. Lots of people can't even go to work.
Countless times.
That's
No,
right.
no.
And it's expensive. It doesn't matter if you've got the money or not. You're having to pay for these things to try and help you find some comfort.
Insurance doesn't cover.
No. And the third thing is families split because of Lyme disease. And so when I looked at that, I thought, you know what? those are the three things that our company is going to go after. It's not about how big I can make my treasury. It's about how many people I can help overcome those three issues that take their lives. They still might be breathing and eating, but they don't have much of a life.
Yeah.
Like they struggle. I saw what happened with my kids, and it's heartbreaking when you can't do anything to help. And there's so many people that can't help, don't know about us. And this has not been an easy journey. It would have been way easier for me to just stop after I saw the results with my kids. I had no idea. I was excited. We discovered something that the world has not experienced, and yet the world is pushing back on us. And I could not understand why governments and the medical community would push back on a solution that's so simple to deal with Lyme disease. And so it's taking me, look, our first trial was in 2016. And this year, we're really getting traction because we're starting to get recognition.
10 years.
We have an interesting show coming out. It's a documentary. And this documentary, we're just a guest, and it's called Superhuman 2. Superhuman 1, it got very high reviews around the world, and it was about the unexplained. Superhuman 2 is about frequencies.
Oh, okay.
To help people understand that everything is frequency driven. And so we're on this documentary, and they've named us the Wellness Technology of the Year. There's some very high profile doctors on this that are frequency experts that just can't believe our technology delivers the results that we deliver. And it's not that we deliver them once in a while. We're very consistent. And I think what makes us really work well is we don't chase symptoms. And so when I put together a Lyme program, it works for everybody who has Lyme. And that's because we go after the weakest system. And once you go after that, Lyme might set up in your heart or your brain or your joints, but it's still Lyme. And so we took that approach. Instead of trying to figure out what's going on in a joint or your brain or your heart and how to deal with that, we just dug in a little deeper and found the source. And that's where the problems are. And that's why we get the results that we do, is because you can sit and tell me all about your symptoms, and this might sound bad, but I don't really care. Actually, I care. Let me rephrase that. I care, but Nikki doesn't.
Nikki doesn't.
Because it's going to go to the issue, and then those symptoms are going to fade away.
Yeah, yeah.
But you have to use it.
How do you capture? I'm super curious because I'm not a science geek, but how do you capture frequencies from a plant in a device? How do you actually capture those frequencies?
We built special technology that when you excite a plant, plants are always giving off frequencies. That's how they speak to the insects. That's how it's quite an interesting, when you step into the frequency world, it's really, really quite interesting. I got asked, now this here, you might, I'll share a little bit, but just going to share a little bit of my faith. Is that okay?
Oh, please. I'm all about it.
Okay. So I'm on the Netflix set.
Okay.
And the executive producer's interviewing me. And she says, so tell me how you create a frequency, just kind of like where you're going. And I said, in order for you to understand that, you'd have to understand my faith. Is that something you want me to say on this documentary? And she just says, go for it. Here's what I said. I said, I walk with a dude named Jesus, and I believe the Bible to be true. And if I believe the Bible to be true, I have to believe that when they say God spoke everything into being, he really did that. And that's just frequencies, no different than you and I are having a conversation today. It's all frequency based. They say he's the same today as he was then. So why would he not restore his creation using frequencies? And she yelled, cut. And I laughed. And I said, that's not going to make it. She said, are you kidding me? We're going to end the show with that.
Oh, wow.
And so it's really interesting, the space that we're in, because frequencies are like, we've got everything that we need. We just need to discover and use them properly.
Mhm.
And we've found that process. What we do, people that have Lyme disease, they're going to be familiar with, I'll just use this one technology as a Rife machine.
Yes. Oh,
So
boy. Yep.
Rife
That's where I
machine,
used to go.
those are frequency, that's a frequency generator. I believe in all technology with frequencies. I believe that they're going down the right path. The problem with the Rife machine is it only delivers one frequency at a time.
Yes.
And then you go to the next and the next and the next. You
Exactly.
will never deal with Lyme disease dealing with that on that basis. And so that's where we deliver hundreds of frequency at a time. Dr. Klinghardt, he used to be very active with us. And he said the more frequencies you can put into the body at exactly the same time, the better, because the cellular network is just going to ignore the information it doesn't need.
Mm.
So it could never do any kind of harm. And so that's a very safe path for us. And we learned that particularly people with Lyme disease don't wear watches, they don't wear tracking devices, they very seldom use their phones because of the EMFs that are coming off it. So on our device, if I don't know if you'll be able to see, but there's up in the right corner, there's a little red circle
Yeah.
around the Bluetooth.
Now, will mine have that?
Yeah, if you go into your about
Okay.
and then you go to Bluetooth
Bluetooth. Okay.
and turn it off.
Oh. So I click on the little red circle. Oh,
No,
off
no,
down the bottom where it says
yeah,
off.
yeah.
Okay.
Now once that's off, you will see a little red circle pop up. And what that means is you've got zero EMF coming into your body. See,
Ah.
we don't see these tracking devices that are out there, or Apple Watches or cell phones. If you turn off the Bluetooth, you lose functionality.
But you don't on this one.
We designed it once the frequencies are on the device, turn off the Bluetooth, and then you've got no EMF. And this way you can wear it 23 hours a day and know that
Yeah.
you're not feeding your body anything that's negative.
Yeah. The only time I've taken it off is to charge it.
Yeah, that's what I do. I wear mine 23 hours a day. I get up in the morning, throw it on the charger. It takes 10
Mhm.
minutes to charge. It's a quick charge. And then
It is. It's very quick.
then I repeat 23 hours. And we've got it to where you can make a playlist. So you can go into all the different programs and choose. So you can take 5 or up to 10 different programs for daytime, bring them all into your playlist, hit play, and you know those are playing now all day long.
Now, where is that info? Because I haven't seen that. Maybe I've just been like clicking on one thing different times of the day or night. So where would you go to create the playlist? Do you go online for that or onto the app?
Just onto the app. So if you
Okay.
go onto the app, and if you plugged in your Nikki and turned on your app, then things are going to start to download and
Mm-hmm.
do that today. So here's what would happen. Let's say that you just bought your Nikki.
Okay.
We built 4 programs in the beginning with a group of doctors, and they were seasonal programs because your body needs different things in different seasons. And so
100%.
we built these 4 programs, but we've never released them. And so what we're doing now is when you buy a Nikki, you spend $300. That gets you the Nikki, and it gets you one of those programs. So if you buy your Nikki in the springtime, you're going to get the spring program that comes with it for free. That's yours for life. But then it's going to ask you to register. And all you have to do is put your name in and whatever the contact information, no credit cards or anything like that. And you become a member. And you automatically get 10 more programs that will automatically download onto your Nikki. And then every quarter for the first year, you're going to get 5 more programs downloaded. So by the time you enter the 4th quarter, you've got 26 programs that you got for free from us, because we wanted you to have those for a year so you can start to play. You can start to realize which programs are doing what. When we get a return, we do get returns. But you know what? The majority, if not all of those people, buy it back within 30 days because they realize, oh my goodness, it was doing something. Because we develop new norms every 30 days, right? And so you might not notice what was happening last month because it's been corrected because of Nikki. One of the best things that happened to our company is the wearable market for tracking things has exploded.
Yes.
There's tens of millions of people that wear tracking devices. I wear a tracking device.
You and I were both laughing because we're double fisted, you're triple fisted.
Right. Well, I've got the Whoop.
And I'm Garmin.
And I track my sleep, my stress, my heart,
HRV.
because I can correct everything. When I wake up in the morning, my recovery from the things that have gone on the day before, I'm between 95 and 100%. My sleep is always between 90, 95 and 100%. Like everything you can track. And so that's really interesting because people that have these tracking devices buy a Nikki and they see first night, oh my goodness, this thing has shifted their health.
Yeah.
And so we like it when we hear that people have tracking devices. We're doing some trials with some of these tracking devices as well. And they're just indication trials. It's just to show people like frequencies. We don't have to prove a frequency works. We have to educate so people understand what a frequency is because they use frequencies every day. Every day, take vitamin C. You're taking frequencies when you take that pill. You can get the vitamin C off here. When you take them together, efficacy goes way up because we tell the body, hey, you've got vitamin C coming in. You need to go get all of the nutrients that you need from that before it flushes through your system. And your body does it. We have an amazing structure that we live in. And it's been designed to heal itself, but it needs a little bit of help. And it doesn't take much nudging because it's mostly information is what it's thriving for. And yeah, I love what we do. I love the results. I get excited every time I see somebody purchasing a Nikki because I know that their life is about to change.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal.
So now we touched on it in the beginning. So we just talked about Lyme, and I'm a super high performance person. I train, but I train in the gym to be able to go do the things I love to do outdoors. That is what fills me. And I like to perform well. I don't want to be hiking up a mountain and going, oh God, I just want to go home and go to sleep. That's not acceptable, right? So I'm dialed in with everything, with my lifestyle. I know how everything affects me, working with the genetics and everything for so long. So now you also have programs around tell us about the why am I can't, but this word just escaped me. The program you're doing with the hockey team, the college hockey team around performance and recovery. I have my podcast out this week. I was telling you as we're recording this, the podcast this week is me talking about how too much exercise is not a good thing because people overtrain. They think that they have to train more to get where they want to be, and they're not recovering. And so they're dialing up inflammatory genetics, increasing genetics that just aren't good, but the propensities. And so there's increased inflammation, and then you're dropping your immune system, getting more injuries. So how can you use the Nikki, or you said I guess there's another program that's around performance. Am I correct there?
Yes.
So let's talk about that one because that's one that also just makes me excited.
Okay.
and how you use that and what you're seeing with that.
Okay. First off, we've launched our store. And so it's the first online frequency store. There's hundreds of programs that members are going to have access to. The sports programs, people will have access to those too. And every Nikki branded, that's why we want to give people a year to use these programs to get comfortable before we say, okay, Now, if you want to continue on, you got to join the membership, which is only $10 a month. We've made this thing
That's
so
cheap.
acceptable for people because we come about it from a Lyme mentality where we look at people that aren't well, they're struggling in other areas. And so we're coming about all of it. So what we did for the sports program is there's a major university in Canada and they have a hockey team. And I got to know the owners because, not the owners, but the coaches, because their whole family had Lyme disease.
Oh my gosh.
And so when we overcame the Lyme with them, we started talking to him about these other things. And I said, we should put them on your hockey players. He's a coach of a major hockey team. And he said, okay, let's do a little trial. So we took a half a dozen of the players, and this was towards the end of the season. And at the end of the season, we wanted to get a little bit of a report on what they did, what happened. They never noticed really anything on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was during their final exams, those 6 students that were average students, when you're playing the sports in university, you still have all the other work on top of that.
Sure.
And so they become average students instead of ones that are excelling. And these 6 aced all of their exams. They were stress-free, they were rested, they didn't have any fatigue. We gave them focus, and that's what happened. So the next year, I said, why don't we give the whole hockey team? Let's do a trial with the whole team. Now, this team, they haven't won the finals in 56 years.
That's a
And
drought.
so they're all wearing Nickies, and they won the finals.
Wow.
And at the end, one of my team, they sent me a picture. And you know how the players are celebrating on the ice, the sticks up in the air,
Yeah.
and their sleeve came down. And on 2 of them in the picture, you could see they were wearing Nickies. And so I text the coach, I said, dude, it looks like 2 of your players are actually wearing Nickies. He said, are you kidding me? Every player wears a Nickie. And one of my partners, he's the president of the Boston Bruins. And he says, look, you're not going to have anybody wearing Nickies playing NHL hockey. Not while they're playing. Now they use our product, but not on the ice.
Off the ice.
Uh,
More for recovery.
For recovery and sleep. Sleep
Sleep is
sleep
crucial.
is huge on everything. We're dealing with the military, US military. We've got some things starting to move forward with them because they're the largest client of the Aura Ring. So I think they're like a $95 million account or something. And
The military. I had no idea.
they're tracking
Interesting.
the sleep
Yeah.
because they need to know if their soldiers are rested.
I
And
had last year, I interviewed Kirk Parsley, Dr. Kirk Parsley, he was a Navy SEAL doctor. And he was working with them, and he said their sleep is horrible with what they would be put through, and they were all on Ambien, which was basically like amnesia all night, and poor sleep recovery, and got them off the Ambien. So I wonder if that kind of was one of the starts with where that started to roll into about the sleep, and just seeing how our toughest members were so underperforming in recovery,
yeah,
and yet expected to again push, and the body can only do so much.
that's
So
right.
this is super interesting.
It is. And so we're having an impact in multiple areas.
Yeah.
And this all began with Lyme disease, and that's still our staple. Like we're always helping somebody with Lyme disease. And I don't know what's going to happen in the future on how they're going to do this, but we're working in one country that they may make it where every citizen has a Nikki. And so we're having impact
Yeah, for sure.
because it works.
You wouldn't be having the impact if it was bunk or if it was just foo-foo. I mean, you're getting measurable real results. It's not placebo. And I was telling you, for listeners who, we were chatting before we started, as always. And when I first got the Nikki, and I was scheduled to meet with Steven, I think it was a couple weeks, 2, 3 weeks after I had gotten the Nikki. And I got sick. I don't get sick. I haven't been sick I couldn't even remember the last time. It's literally been years. I never had COVID, nothing with all that crap, right? And I woke up at 3 in the morning. I was blowing my nose constantly. My voice was a mess and I was exhausted. And I immediately because I had Nikki on sleep, and I moved Nikki over to immune, and I charged it that morning. I had to cancel with you because I could, it would have been awful. And I charged it up and I kept it on immune all day, kept the immune going. This is all I did. And then my usual garlic and ginger and olive leaf and all that I take. And I thought, this is going to be a rough week. And so I even canceled other clients thinking I'm going to be down all week because I was miserable. My head was just miserable. And the next morning I woke up and I'm like, okay, I still have a runny nose, but I'm not coughing. And I knew people that had this said they went right to a cough and this lasted weeks and everything. And I'm like, I actually have energy today. I went and took a 3-mile walk around the lakes here, nice and chill. Felt pretty good. And then the next day, that was like a Tuesday. And by Friday, I was on a trail. And I'm going, no, really, what are the things I did? Do I swear by my other things? Yes. But again, it would still take time to get through it. And you had said to me, it also depends on how balanced you were to begin with. And I told you I'm pretty darn balanced because I'm so dialed in with how I live my life. So I think you can't use a device and just say, this is going to take care of all the crappy decisions I make in my life, right? It's not going to fix that. It's not going to fix your McDonald's trips and you're sitting and eating and watching TV all day long, not moving. It's not going to fix that. But so you have to take some responsibility. But when you even combine this with lifestyle changes, I think it enhances, because I even said I have a medical AI through one of my platforms, so it knows me inside out. And it's like having another clinician that I'm working with, right? So I go in and I say, here's what's happening with me. And I said, I did not sleep well. Like I was off, whether it was something on my mind or I can't remember. This was in the last week or so. And I said, but yet, how the hell was my HR with 4 hours of sleep? How did it say that my Garmin say my training readiness, which typically would be tanked, my training readiness was in the 60s, and it said you're okay to go, listen to your body, and that my heart rate variability was 58 that night, as opposed to a 40. How, right? So these are the things that I've seen wearing it where I'm going, was it this or was it this? Because that's not how my body would typically react. I would be trashed, totally trashed.
One of the nice things about our technology, I had a group, they approached me, this was months and months ago, and they wanted to get my advertising contract. And they started out by telling me who my enemies are. And my enemies are red light therapy and other frequency technologies and even just your regular health centers. And I said, look, in order to even continue this conversation, you either need to change your lenses or we just need to move on. So let me help you change your lens. I only have one enemy, and that's disease.
Yes.
Everybody else are my allies. So it's not like I try and get clients from a red light therapy clinic or this clinic or that clinic. That's not what we do. If you're going to a red light therapy clinic, in between visits, when you leave that clinic, you should be wearing a Nikki. And that continues that process with those frequencies in between clinical visits. You're going to have a way better result. You're going to have less time in those clinics because you're going to get better faster. And it doesn't matter what health option you're using, we support it. And so we never say stop doing when you put Nikki on. Your body's going to stop doing. You're going to, everything's going to shift for you without you trying to make a decision to stop taking something.
Mm-hmm.
I have to do that. You just start getting better, so you stop taking them. It's really quite interesting, our whole approach. And the approach is safe. We've made it
Mm-hmm.
extremely affordable. Look, we're saying come join our store, buy a Nikki for $300 and have access to all Nikki branded wellness programs in the store at no cost. Just use them. Once you do that for a year, then you become a member for $10 a month. You're gonna see that's a latte a month. It gets to be ridiculous on how inexpensive we're making this. But we're doing this because we came about it from a different perspective. One, we're going to help you with your health, which is going to lead to better finances. It's going
Mm-hmm.
to lead to healthier families, communities, and so on. That's who we are at a heart level. And we don't vary from that. We don't get pushed off of that. We know what we're doing, and we know that we leave a lot of money on the table. But there's always how much is enough for one, and how can we help the person? $300 to some people is still out of reach.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And will we work on that? I don't know how much lower we can get because there's other things, the costs that are incorporated into
Yeah.
those,
Yeah.
whether it's people introducing them or whatever the case may be. And so it makes it a little bit difficult, but $300,
That's still in the realm of what it costs. And take again from someone who's had Lyme disease and had injuries from training. You name it, I've been through it, right? The cost of illness is massive.
yeah,
Massive. And when I would do my taxes every year within those 11 years of trying to get diagnosed, and I feel like I'm going to get ready to sneeze here, so it might happen. It's like teetering on the edge here. I was spending a minimum out of pocket because nothing was covered by insurance because I hadn't been diagnosed yet. And then when I got diagnosed, insurance still covered nothing.
yeah,
And that year was almost 15,000 out of pocket. Every single year, because I could go back and document it, was $8,000 to $10,000 out of pocket to try to figure out what the hell was wrong with me. Well, because it was cardiac Lyme the first time. Ended up in the ER, rapid heart rate in the middle of the night. What is happening to me? And that went on for a year or so. And then the second time was all joint based. The phantom pains, the awful, chronic fatigue that came with it. The money that I spent trying to get answers. And I was told the same thing, just keep working out. You'll be fine. Keep eating right and working out. Those are the only answers I got, or take this drug. And they had me on everything. Back then I didn't know. I $300 out of how much how much you could potentially spend when you have these issues and trying to treat. It's one of the cheaper options to start with.
that's right.
And when you're getting documented results.
And then after you buy the Nikki, it's $120 a year.
Year.
And you're going to have access to hundreds of programs, whether it's for your children, whether it's for different seasons that you're going through, or different ages that you're going through. I'm so excited when this store fully launches. And so it's not fully launched yet, but we're giving everybody a taste. Everybody gets to sample what we do for a year and get comfortable with what we do. Ask us questions, do whatever you need to do, and all you have to do is try the product, and
Yeah.
you won't
And
get
is there customer support? Because I don't even think I've been using it religiously since I got it a couple months ago. Like I said, every day unless it's on a charger. But I don't think I've been utilizing it to, like I said, about the. So is it all of that is it on the website?
It's the website's being upgraded. Everything should be upgraded by the first.
Okay.
And
And
so
interesting. I'm sorry, go ahead.
then you'll be able to see what the offer is.
Okay.
And it's really quite simple. And you got to keep things simple. Like people with Lyme disease, they get something that you call Lyme brain, and it's really difficult. Like it's just
And it
difficult,
is real.
and
It
it's
is,
real.
it is real. And you talked about families breaking up, and I've talked about this on here. I was in a relationship for almost 3 years, and he got tired of me saying it's Lyme. Everything that you become Lyme. It controlled you. So I had that happen, the financial part, the physical part. It took some years from my life. So I'd say to fellow Limeys out there, go for it. Give this a shot because you really do have nothing to lose at this point, and you have so much to gain. And the other thing you talked about is seasonal differences. And this is interesting because the platform that I work with, which is like a user manual for your body, right? The exact foods based on nutrient density that your body is requiring at this time, according to how all your genetics are expressing, right? This is what we're looking at, what we're seeing with lab values, and then physical, everything. So it changes seasonally. So someone will say, I was eating this food, it was on my excellent list all winter. And now where did it go? I went in one day and it's at the bottom of the list because our bodies take things in differently seasonally. So when it's cold out in the winter, typical winter is not like our Colorado winter, which is basically like another summer this year. It doesn't want to be eating cold foods. So all of the cold foods are heading to the bottom of the list, and the warming foods come up the list. And then you get into spring, and you'll see some of them dip down a little bit, and cooling foods start to come up a tad. And then by summer, it's, oh, my watermelon appears up here where it's not around anywhere from fall on. Right. I thought that was just super interesting how Nikki also ties into that, because I didn't realize that about the seasonal until I just saw it. Like you said, we're getting a little tease, and I got an email. I remember it was last week or the week before, about seasonal programs, and I was like, oh, this makes sense. So
Yeah.
it totally makes sense and goes in line with what I do as well.
And we made it so simple. Like people that have already own a Nikki, they just get grandfathered in. We're not trying to do a cash grab now that you've got a
Mhm.
Nikki. Now, if you want these other really good programs, get out your checkbook.
Yeah.
That's not what we're doing. We're trying to change the way people heal, and it's something that we're giving back to the world the best we can.
Love it. I love it.
One thing that
Okay.
we would like to do is I'd like to give you a Nikki, and I want to give you one that you can give away.
Oh,
So have a contest or pick randomly, do whatever you like with that, Nikki, but give it to somebody who has Lyme disease.
okay. And again, I will have everything in the show notes, but I always say on here, some people just want to listen. They don't
Yeah.
want to be looking in my show notes. So how can they find out more about getting Nikki?
I think that if they go to wearenikki.com, that's where the gold is. That's where they're gonna find the information on how everything works with what we do. And that's just going through a little bit of an upgrade at the moment. And so
Okay.
because we've made some changes, we're launching the store at the same time. It's Lyme Awareness Month coming up in May.
Yes, it is.
Even though we don't call it Lyme Awareness Month, we call it Lyme Recovery Month. And we will be launching a podcast at some point. And
Okay.
it's life after Lyme. We get so many people sharing their stories on what they're capable of doing today that they couldn't do when they had full on Lyme. And so we want to put out positive thoughts. We want people to see and grab a hold of some hope, because there is hope. And with people with Lyme disease,
100%.
look, it's really hard to find the hope because
It is.
the doors are hard to open,
It's very
and
discouraging.
our doors open. And so if you go to our website, you'll learn a bit. And we've always got customer service. All you have to do is that there's a place in there. You can send in a note saying, hey, I'd like to have an actual live conversation with somebody, and they'll book a meeting with you.
Which
And
you
so
don't get anymore, live conversations, right? So that's a huge plus, that you can actually talk to somebody
that's right.
if you need to.
And we don't get a lot of calls, but if we do get a call, it's usually something to do with Lyme disease. But we don't get calls about sleep, or they know. They try, as long as they use it. It's if you go to your doctor and they prescribe some antibiotics. If you don't take it the way they say, you're not going to get better.
Mm.
And that's no different than us. If you don't use it, you can't
You
expect
can't,
results.
yeah, truth.
And it's easy. Look, you just put it on. You put it on, you pick the program that you want, and forget about it.
Yeah, you do. And it's super light too. It's very lightweight. I did notice that.
Yeah, and when future things happen, future costs that are associated where you have to upgrade the Nikki in order to get these other new
Yeah.
programs, we don't do any of that either.
Yeah.
You got your Nikki, and you're going to have access
You're
to
in.
anything we develop.
Yeah. For $10 a month is it?
$10
That's
a month.
again, that's nothing.
And that's after the first year.
Yes. Yeah. But it's just a smart, inexpensive investment. I paid like $900 for my Garmin. It doesn't do this to me. It gives me all the information that I can see what's happening with me. And I just tell people that when you understand what's happening with your body and you see the input, what you're doing, the difference it can make, it's just gold. It's just gold. It's even more personalized.
It's just difficult. Like you can track something, but then it's up to you to figure it out.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not so simple.
Truth. So is there anything else that I missed in asking you that you want to make sure that you get out here? Because we've covered some good stuff today.
No, all I can say is our technology can do no harm. You can put it on a newborn. If they're not sleeping, put the sleep program on. It's not going, it can do no harm. Impossible to do any harm. Now, if you have Lyme, you might herx, but that's not doing harm. That's just getting you through a process to get you better. And you're going to experience that. It doesn't matter where you go. If you get die off, it's going to be uncomfortable for a few days.
Yeah, it is. And that if people are wondering what that is, if you don't have Lyme but know someone that do, it's that reaction is die off of the bacteria, and it's almost like flu-like symptoms. It can cause fatigue, headache, sweating. You know when you're going through it, like you're just like, wow, where's that truck that ran me over? I'm going after him. You literally feel like you've been hit by a truck, but it does pass. It does pass. Yeah.
And so my only recommendation is if you buy it, use it.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
Great advice.
Once your body has balance, life is just better.
Amen.
In every aspect.
Amen to that, my friend. Amen. Thank you so much. Again, we'll have all of the Nikki information and Stephen's information in the show notes. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. I can always contact Stephen as well. And I'm so grateful that you were able to take the time out of your day and join us today. And I just appreciate so much what you're doing out there for Lymies and for we high performance people, or people that just want to live a better quality of life, because it's not, what's life if you can't enjoy it?
That's right.
When your health is number one. So thank you so much, Mr. Stephen Davis.
Thank you.
Now get out there, everybody. Make it a great day and be your most authentic self. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
Thank you for tuning into my podcast. If you enjoyed this week's episode, I'd love for you to share it with someone who'd find the information useful. Please leave a review anywhere you listen to podcasts, and it'll help the information get out to others. If you're interested in seeing if we're a great fit to work together, the link is in the show notes below, where you can sign up for a free consultation with me. So go make it a great day and let your authentic self shine.